Sometimes the happenings in boxing are cringe-worthy, make you want to holler, make you want to scream, make you want to punch something. And that was no more evident than this past Saturday, June 24th, when we got a chance to see this amazing matchup between Carlos Adames and Julian J. Rock Williams. And the fight was a good fight until it wasn't. Makes you want to punch something or somebody. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Why would you want to punch something or somebody when a referee decides once again to impose himself on the action? Haven't we had enough of this? Shouldn't something be done about this? Focus up.
Suspense right now. He's been showing that right left
A world championship fight shouldn't be decided by the third man in the ring, the referee. It should be decided by the two combatants and those who may be scoring the fight if we happen to hear the final bell. But that was not the case this past Saturday, when Julian J. Rock Williams and Carlos Adames fought and the referee decided to impose himself unfairly, unjustly. My thought. I'm still trying to go over it in my head. I didn't like what I saw. The referee, Mark Nelson, let's say his name again, Mark Nelson, imposed himself on the fight in round 9. This was one of the fights that you could honestly say had back and forth action. We were seeing both men compete at a high level. Yes, there was punishment being meted out, but on both sides. We could say that Carlos Adames was a strong customer, coming in as the interim titleist for the WBC in the middleweight division. He looked okay. He looked like he was given some. But Julian J. Rock Williams came in and was contesting. So now Adames' record is 23-1 with 18 KOs due to the referee, Mark Nelson, infringing upon the party that these two men were having. And what a party it was. J-Rock had been rocked a couple of times during the fight, but had come back. And no one said anything about those right hands that he was landing on Adames clean as a whistle multiple times. One time I think he did it like 3 to 4 times in a row, straight right hand leads, proving to me that ring IQ is not high on Adames's list, or at least the list that describes what's in his toolbox. Nothing about Doc, Duck, Bob, Weave, Block, Parry. Some of those shots landed flush. And though J-Rock may not be a full-fledged middleweight, being a former champion from the 154-pound division, he was proving himself to be a worthy challenger. But now his record drops to 28-4 with 1 draw and 16 KOs due to Mark Nelson. Mark Nelson imposing himself on the fight. Why? Ebb and flow. If the man had gone down, you count. If he had taken a knee, you count. But he was blocking, and at the time that he stepped in, Mark Nelson, J-Rock was already launching his own offensive because he had turned Adames, who originally had him against the ropes in the 9th, and was firing back. And what was so bad about the stoppage is that Adames, who was near the ropes at that moment, Nelson jumps in to wave off the fight facing Adames. He didn't jump in front of J-Rock and wave it off. So what was he looking at? A possible manila envelope that could have been passed? Maybe. Someone sitting in the audience with dark shades on, with a newspaper, giving a sign. Maybe. Or maybe he had an earpiece. You know, the kind like they use in all the spy movies when everybody's communicating and they touch their ear for the piece in there, and someone communicated to him, okay, it's time. Time to go home. Whatever the case, it stinks. It stinks, people. Because J-Rock, a former world champion, as I said, Adames is not a world champion yet, but J-Rock is. And he deserved consideration. He deserves so much more than what Mr. Nelson offered up. So much more. Take a look at this image one more time. Isn't this usually the body language that a referee displays when he's waving a fight off against the guy who has lost? Think about that for a moment. J-Rock just turned and waved his hands in the air like what? Look where Adames is. He's against the ropes. We have seen poor decisions by referees over this past month that have really called into question their integrity and also their place in the sport and whether or not they should be considered for the big fights. Some of them will let opponents get beaten into submission, ignoring cornermen saying stop it, sometimes ignoring a towel being thrown in. Other times, they'll wave a fight off like this past Saturday before a guy is truly in the type of trouble where a referee would need to step in and save him, if not from the opponent, but from himself. And yet and still there are other times when they will let someone bleed as if they have just escaped the local butcher, leaving trails of DNA all over the ring. What is going on? We saw in the co-main, Lubin and Arias, the referee of that fight, count so fast that I thought he was speed reading or something. Jack Reese once counted over Tyson Fury and shouted in his face to wake an unconscious Fury up. Then turned around and told us he did what was best for the sport of boxing, for the greater good, I think his words were. So, please tell me, what is Mark Nelson's excuse? Because that's what it is, an excuse to stop something and to rob the fighters of a finale. A finale where a fight goes to its conclusion. If they're going to step in and stop these matches like this, why are we having them? If they're not going to be held accountable and explain themselves in post-fight interviews and press conferences, can you explain to me what was your motivation in this? Please articulate that for the masses. Instead of hiding under the umbrella of the sanctioning bodies, we need to look into bank accounts. We need to look into communications by text. We need to find out what is really going on. And why are certain individuals continuously receiving assignments when they should be banned? What is this? I was looking at a fight from Saturday night between these two combatants that gave us ebb and flow, back and forth, peril, which is usually a part of boxing. But I didn't get a conclusion. It was rudely interrupted. You ever been where they play music and something happens and they take the needle off the record and it goes and everything stops? That was Mark Nelson stepping in on this fight Saturday night. What in the hell was this man doing? And why is he officiating boxing matches between high caliber fighters? Why? To me, ineptitude seems to be an issue here. If he can't stand the sight of blood, he's in the wrong profession. If he thinks for one moment that what he did was for the greater good of boxing, he's wrong. How many times have we seen Arturo Gatti come back? Evander Holyfield come back? Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. What are you doing? Is that officiating? Or is that over officiating? It stinks. And so does Mark Nelson. Get him and Tony Weeks and the likes of them out of my sport. Fraudulent, corrupt officiating doesn't belong in boxing. Legendary performances do, and you're interrupting that, and I don't support it. Get the hell out of my sport. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace to everyone out there. And everyone, please remain safe. Keep your chin up there. Julian J. Rock Williams. Carlos Adames. You still are going to be tested.